There have been 96 Roman emperors, so obviously some are going to be better than others. Without further ado, I will be ranking every Roman emperor from worst to best. Apologies for my humor in this. 96, Honorius, a puppet for the first part of his reign. Bad enough as a puppet, worse when he held actual power. Probably screwed up the entire empire, causing the fall of the West. 95, Elagabalus. Puppet, again, who did not like being a puppet. He was cruel and crazy. Oh, and also let's not even point out how he treated his own dinner guests. 94, Commodus. Cruel, insane, whatever. He worshipped himself as a god and renamed all the months after himself. 93, Galba. Everyone thought he'd be a good emperor till the day he became one. He was strict, ruthless, and cruel. 92, Valentinian III. The only reason he's not lower is because of his comparison to his, well, not really his predecessor, his close soon-to-be predecessor, Honorius. Or not soon-to-be, whatever. Similar to Honorius. Oh, and Honorius and Valentinian III combined probably ruined the empire, and they combined ruled for over 60 years. 91, Caligula. Also named all the months after himself. But this time he had his first 6 months where he was sane. Yeah, basically I'm calling him sane for his first 6 months. After that, you do not need to know what happened. 90, Maximus Maximus, the 8'6" brute. 89, Constantine II. Avarice to the max. Meanwhile, letting his own people suffer because of that. 88, Petronius Maximus. A coward. Emperor who ruled for only 2 months during the fall of the West. 87, Avitus, Petronius Maximus' successor, who basically was hated by everyone. The army, the senate, the people, the East, the other people in the government. Yeah. 86, Decius. Restorative, but cruel. 85, Gordian II. Okay, great. All he did was lose a battle. 84, Geta. Okay, great. All he did was lose a battle. 83, Florian. Okay, great. All he did was not even go into battle and did nothing remarkable. 82, Constantine III. Usurper. At the time where a usurper was needed, but he made things worse. 81, Balbinus. He failed at his job. Spectacularly. 80, Vitellius. Like Balbinus, both put the city in chaos, and both ended up failing to keep order. 79, Arcadius. A puppet, but the East quickly recovered from his rule. 78, Caracalla. He did grant several Roman people citizenship, but on the other hand, yeah, he was just straight up brutal and a massacreist. 77, Didius Julianus. He bought the empire and then ruined all the currency reforms, and I bet you can guess how it ended for him. 76, Romulus Augustulus. A child puppet emperor. He ruined the West. Last emperor. Dubious honor. 75, Gallus. 3rd century Croesus emperor who did absolutely nothing. 74, Carinus. 3rd century crisis emperor who did a little bit, but also then got backfired on. 73 Martinian. Some general Licinius put in during the civil war against Constantine the Great. 72 Severus II. Another of the Tetrarch War emperors. He did absolutely nothing. 71 Severus III. One of Ricimer's puppets. I do intend on talking more about future emperors, but these ones are just pathetic. 70 Valentinian II. Another straight up child puppet emperor. 69 Diademinian. Another child puppet emperor. 68 Victor. Another child puppet emperor. 67 Valerius Valens. An adult puppet emperor. 66 Constans II. A child puppet emperor. 65 Volusian. Another child puppet emperor. 64 Olybrius. He allied with Gesseric, and Ricimer, but the alliance was soon dead, along with Olybrius and Ricimer. 63 Gratian. A general, but a child puppet emperor. 62 Philip II. Same as the last dude. 61 Herennius Etruscus. Possibly a child puppet emperor, possibly an adult puppet emperor. We aren't for sure. 60 Jovian. He tried, but was forced to sign a humiliating peace treaty. He did attempt to get back to Constantinople so he could rule properly, and to be fair, would have likely done a good job. Unfortunately, he left his brazier on next to wet paint. 59 Pupienus. Beat one of the worst people on this list, Maximinus Thrax, but couldn't stop bickering with his co-emperor Balbinus. 58 Macrinus. 2 back-to-back emperors who were overthrown and had big beards. 57 Solonius, Gallienus' son, proclaimed emperor not by Gallienus and actually revolted against his father. It didn't go well. Postumus won the fight. 56 Maximinus Daza. Not the best, not the worst, just pathetic and forgettable. 55 Julius Nepos, the last person to claim the title of Roman Emperor. He tried, but he deposed somebody who was further on in this list. 54 Glycerius, and by further on, I mean one spot. He tried, the last emperor to actually write a law, and did all right. He tried to get back the East, somewhat, but was just not successful because he didn't rule long enough because he was deposed by the last guy. 53 Gordian I, the 80-year-old dude who did not want to be emperor. He reigned for 22 days. Who's next? 52 Quintillus, an adult person who was willing to be emperor. He ruled for 17 days. Possibly the shortest. 51 Anthemius. Overrated. Gave it his all, but just was nowhere near to being successful. Was not the hero that a lot of people think of. 50 Silvanacus. You know how I said Quintillus might have had the shortest reign? This is Silvanacus. And the reason he's in this position because it's on one hand. On the other hand, that's right, we know absolutely nothing about him. 49 Aemilian. Possibly Silvanacus' predecessor. He was going to give the Senate back to power, but his soldiers had other ideas. 48 Hostilian. Another 3rd century crisis emperor who only ruled for a little bit of time. 47 Vetranio. You know, he knew what he had to do, and he would voluntarily abdicated, which, instead of giving in to power lust, he was wise, and, well, he was still a potential usurper. 46, Nerva. He legit tried to buy people's love. Completely overrated. More so than Anthemius. 45, Galerius. He tried his absolute hardest, but in truth ended up being nothing like what he sought out to be. But he was pretty successful against Persia. 44, Nero. He's basically your average emperor, did some good, did some bad. 43, Magnus Maximus. His name means great, greatest. He is nowhere near being a great emperor. He was just there as a usurper. But, well, he was a good general. 42, Constance. Person who Constantine II died fighting. His own brother. This dude was sort of successful. Can't say he was, can't say he wasn't. Oh, and look at his face, it's super symmetrical. 41, Numerian. Only did one thing, but seemed to be sane and competent. Unfortunately, his father-in-law did not like how he ruled. 40, Philip the Arab. Nothing remarkable. 39, Lucius Verus. Party boy who could work. 38, Licinius. Well, was able to hold power on for a long time, and although he did eventually lose to a certain Constantine the Great, but so did everyone else in the Tetrarchy, and he easily was fairly competent. 37, Hadrian. A benevolent dictator is still a dictator, and he wasn't very benevolent. 36, Valens. Dude, why do you look like a thumb? Battle of Adrianople he gets way too much crap for, but when he, in truth, was being a fairly competent emperor. 35, John, or Joanes, or... You know what? I'm just gonna call him Bearded J. So, Bearded J, came right after Honorius tried, but was overthrown by the East, and Valentinian III. 34, Diocletian, the founder of the Tetrarchy. 33, Maximian, the co-founder of the Tetrarchy. 32, Tacitus. This is not the historian. This is the emperor. This was a somewhat successful 75-year-old man who was an obvious placeholder after Aurelian. 31, Constantius III, the second highest one from the fall of the West. Just shows to show you how pathetic they were. 30, Otho. Another victim of circumstance that he would really have been a good emperor had he reigned at a different time. 29, Maxentius, same as Otho. 28, Septimius Severus. Had he not enriched the troops, he would have been a lot higher. But he was still a very competent emperor and conquered a lot of land. 27, Pertinax. His reign can be summed up in just too much, too soon. 26, Constantius II. His reign can be summed up in usurper fighting, but eventually lost to one. 25, Theodosius II. Became emperor as an infant, but still managed to do a really nice job. Theodosian walls were named after him. 24, Gordian III. Successful general, but not much other than that. 23, Theodosius I. A usurper, but still a top-tier emperor. he made the decision to split the empire between East and West. 22, Marcian. A peaceful reign of 7 years and was easy to rule over. 21, Probus. If he was able to command his generals and was able to understand what they needed, he would be a lot higher. Either way, helped massively on what Aurelian started, or what Gallienus started. 20, Valerian. Aforementioned Gallienus' father, a victim of circumstance. He tried his absolute best, but still managed to be emperor for 7 years in the crisis of the 3rd century. 19, Alexander. He wanted peace at a time when peace was not an option, but I do applaud his peace efforts. 18, Tiberius. Reluctant to become emperor, did a nice job, and the only reason he is so hated is because of Julio-Claudian bias. 17, Julian the Apostate. The usurper who won against Constantius II, nearly restored paganism to the empire, and managed to almost defeat Persia. 16, Vespasian, the winner of the Year of the Four Emperors. Besides avarice, he was a very competent emperor. 15, Gallienus, fought off numerous usurpations, fought off several barbarians, started reconquering land, and ruled for 15 years. 14, Marcus Aurelius. Okay, the philosopher emperor had a lot of bad stuff thrown at him as emperor. Plagues, wars, and he managed, despite all of that, to hold on to power relatively easily. 13, Valentinian the Great. This dude had major anger issues, but he was still competent and was able to know what he was doing. 12, Carus. Why is he so high? He nearly beat the Persian Empire. And if it wasn't for one nasty bolt of lightning, he would have expanded the empire more than even Trajan. 11, Claudius Gothicus. Aurelian's predecessor's predecessor. He tried his absolute hardest to get what was needed for the empire to survive. 10, Constantius Chlorus, the restorer of eternal light. He was able to be very tolerant during his reign and but was still able to be a military success. 9, Constantine the Great, Constantius' son, winner of the Tetrarchic Civil Wars, possibly the first Christian emperor, successful in everything that is except for his succession. 8, Majorian, almost restored the entire Western Roman Empire when it was already doomed to fall. Enough said. 7, Aurelian, a Majorian who succeeded. 6, Domitian, the only emperor to solve the problem of inflation. Very competent, knew what he was doing. 5, Claudius. Well, although normally he isn't seen as someone remarkable, the way he came to the throne and was able to yet remain peaceful but still conquer Britannia, one of the most major conquerings by the Romans in history. 4. Titus. Vesuvius happened. A great fire happened. Plague happened. He did his absolutely hardest to respond to all 3 of those crises. Sadly, he only ruled for 2 years. And he was also... and what I mean by responding to these crises, I mean he personally went there the first time a world leader went to a disaster site. 3. Antoninus Pius. 23 years of peace. Did an amazingly wonderful job at keeping the peace, yet still built the Antonine Wall, which enforced one of Rome's borders. 2. Augustus. Peaceful reign. The only reason that's stopping him from being number 1 is his taxes on Egypt, when he was also the Roman pharaoh or Egyptian pharaoh. Same difference. The only time people revolted under Augustus is when they wanted him to become dictator for life. That is how awesome he was. But there is one emperor who I think stands even above the likes of Augustus, who stands above Hadrian, who stands above Diocletian, who stands above every other emperor. 1. Trajan. The only problem I can think of with him was expanding the empire too thin. But he did expand more than any other. But he still brought peace to the Romans, built the Forum. Just was clearly not insane, but still was able to make sure things were getting done, and getting done neatly. I have insane praise for Trajan, and that is why he's my number 1 emperor. So, as a recap, just evil, 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 bad, 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 puppet, bad, / puppet, bad, 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 puppet, 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 ish, puppet-ish, 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 meh, 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 meh. Tried, 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 tried. Decent, 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 decent. Good, 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 good. Very good, 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 very good. Great, 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 great,